Ring of Truth. In our neighborhood, there was a man-made lake, about 10 feet deep. Backs of houses lined it on both sides. A stout oak tree with a massive limb reached out low over the water, just perfect for climbing out on. The underground stream, if there ever was one, had not worked in years. The water, stagnant and murky, was not fit for swimming, but that didn't stop us teenagers. The three of us were enjoying this muddy-bottomed swamp when somehow, of all miracles, Roy found a ring. He had simply dived down and picked it up. Aliens can make you do things like that. He brought it for my inspection as I stood under the canopy of the oak tree. The year 1976 was engraved across the top of the ring, even though it was still only 1972. It's probably someone's school ring, I concluded, even though it was 4 years ahead. Roy took it as an ominous sign. Turning the ring in his worried hands, he said, "No, something really bad is going to happen to me in 1976. As I considered the year 76, I countered, "Well, I think something good is going to happen to me in 76. He looked shocked. How could I say such a thing? We were supposed to be in this together. To appease him, I added, "Well, 1986 is going to be a bad year for me. Something bad will probably happen to me in 86. He nodded and went on pondering the ring and the omen he felt it foretold. He placed the ring on a finger of his large hand and jumped back into the lake. Moments later, when he looked again, the ring was gone. He dove and dove to search the muddy bottom. He tried to enlist me in the search, but I refused, saying, "It would be next to impossible to ever find that ring again. It's a wonder that you ever found it in the first place." Even then, I suspected the strange beings had returned the ring to its owner. One day, I walked outside to see Roy returning from the neighborhood. I waited for him to meet me in our front yard. If aliens want to, you go outside and wait. You will go outside and wait. If they want you to walk down the street, you will walk down the street. Many times, they would drop us off in the neighborhood and allow us to walk home so that our missing time would be less noticeable to ourselves and others. Visibly upset, Roy stated, "I was born with no name and I'll die with no name." Puzzled, I said, "What do you mean?" He repeated, "I don't have a name. I was born with no name and I'll die with no name." He was serious and I was confused. "When I die, y'all will probably forget all about me." "No, we won't, Roy. How could we forget about you? We care about you. You're our brother." He looked doubtful. "When I die, everyone will forget all about me. I probably won't even have a headstone." A headstone? I finally had something to work with. "I tell you what," I vowed. "If you die and I see that you don't have a headstone, I promise I will buy you one. I don't care how much it cost." He searched my face. "You will?" "Yes, I will." This is just one of many omens that Roy was going to die young. There would be more to come. Finding the ring in that cloudy lake only to have it disappear again is near impossible, but with the Grays it is quite simple. 18 years had passed, and long forgotten was Mother's prophetic dream of the tornado that threatened to pull Roy from her grasp. And recall that as a child, I sat on the porch and gave the proclamation that something bad would happen on my stepsister's birthday. Roy would have only been 9 at that time, and there was the photo of Roy with the side of his face melted. One needs to pay serious attention to such omens and mysterious coincidences. Yet another ominous warning came in the form of a small toy truck. Like a lot of women, our mother liked yard sales. She bought a vase, which she sat on her kitchen counter. One morning, as usual, she was rushing her kids to hurry for the bus. She was sitting at the table with her coffee when suddenly the vase exploded. The morning ruckus was replaced by silence. Everyone denied involvement. Investigating the scene, Mom noted that the shattered pieces lay in an unnatural neat pile around a small blue toy truck. It had been inside all along. With apprehension, she knew it meant something. But what? Another foreshadowing soon followed. A large painting hung on her kitchen wall beside her refrigerator. The painting was of a table with a bunch of grapes in a dish. One grape had fallen and rolled to the table's edge. It lay precariously, threatening to tumble over the side with one thoughtless bump. Mother kept her camera on top of the refrigerator. When her film was developed, she was shocked by an eerie photo. A glowing white hand with long robed sleeve pointed a pale finger at the wayward grape's predicament, as if to say, "Watch out." She queried her children, but no one confessed. Besides, there was the robed sleeve and ghostly hand. How the photo came to be was odd enough, but on further study she realized that to get the straight-on angle, a person would have to be very tall or stand on a chair. Mother believed it was a warning to pay attention. The bunch of grapes represented her many children, and one was about to be lost. Roy adored Mother, whom he saw as no less than a goddess, and she was proud of her handsome son. He began driving over on his work break and have his lunch. Sitting at her table one day, he grieved over his strained relationship with our father. He had already made his rounds to those important to him and given hugs, but his father was the one person he could not approach. He yearned for a heart-to-heart talk, to put their differences aside. "I just wish I could talk to him, but I don't know how," he told Mother. "I've thought about different scenarios, but whatever I think of turns out terrible in my mind, and I don't want that. I don't know what to do." Mother tried her best to counsel him. "Roy, you have to understand that there are just some people like that. There may not be anything you can do. When you turn 21, you can do what you want." Roy stopped eating and looked up at her. "But Mother, I'm not going to live to be 21. "Yes, you are, Roy," she replied. "No, I'm not," he said, giving her a wry smile. "Nobody knows when they are going to die," Mom said. "But I know," he said with another smile. Mother felt it was time her youngest son, Lonnie, got to know his big brother. She sent him to visit. There was a 6-year age gap. Roy and Lonnie sat on the porch for a heartfelt talk. Finally, Roy confided in his little brother that he knew he was going to die. Early one particular morning in late 1975, I had been surprised to find Roy sitting in the dark living room. Normally, he would have been asleep at this time. Sounding depressed, he had said, "Jennifer, I have got to talk to someone. I have this feeling that I am going to die." "Maybe you're mistaken. You're probably going to live a long time," I tried to reassure him. "See, no one will listen to me," he said. "I will listen to you, but I'm on my way to school so we can talk about it later, okay?" Thinking that we would talk after school. The subject did not come up between us again. In fact, I didn't see him for several days, which was his custom. Some time had passed when 2 young Mormons arrived at our house on bicycles. They wanted to share some slides on life after death. I thought of Roy and his many comments about dying. Roy must see it. I will do this for him. Could they be back on Sunday? They could, but only if I made sure my brother would be there, because this would be the last time they would have the slides in their possession. It was being passed around to their churches. Mentioning the slides to Roy, I instructed him to be home Sunday. When Sunday came, Roy just happened to be there. That in itself was a surprise. After viewing the slides, Roy was notably concerned. "But how can you be sure there is life after death? How do you really know?" he asked. Eager to assist, the Mormon youths replied, "Because that is what the Bible tells us. Do you believe in the Bible?" Yes, he did. Was he sure he was saved? He did not know. Had he ever been baptized? Yes, he had. Then they asked, "If you were to die tomorrow, are you sure that you would go to heaven?" Becoming visibly upset, he was just not sure. They continued, "Do you want to go to heaven when you die?" Roy replied with a firm, "Yes." They had us bow our heads as they prayed on Roy's behalf. They began by asking for forgiveness of his sins, had Roy accept the blood of the Lamb, and state his desire to go to heaven. I gave silent confirmation to those listening above. This brief exchange would turn out to be more significant than we could imagine, and it would not be the last time I encounter these 2 young men. Were the aliens trying to prove something, or were they going to great lengths at deception? Ominous signs and mysterious occurrences continued to weave their threads through our lives. From the murky depths of a neighborhood lake to the shattered pieces of a vase, each event seemed to hint at unseen forces at play. Roy, with his foreboding sense of destiny, grappled with the certainty of his own demise, while I, compelled by a sense of duty, sought to give him solace. As the years passed and shadows lengthened, questions beyond our understanding lingered. The truth remained elusive, awaiting discovery in the days that lay ahead.